Hello, test.เดี๋ยวนะครับมันอาจารย์เห็นผมไหมครับเนี่ยเหรอครับโอเคครับเพราะว่าที่หน้าจอผมไม่มีเลยครับโอเคครับไม่เป็นไรครับ Good morning, everybody in Washington, Vancouver, and Thailand. Evening time before going to the bed, we must have to consume some good Dhamma before going to the bed and before doing the activities in the morning of today. We should consume some good Dhamma. The Dhamma that I have brought today is about the meditation, special kinds of the meditation, which is called breathing meditation. Before we go into detail of the breathing meditation, I would like to I have brought really special gift, the the doctrine from the Buddha. The Buddha said once one who live life for 100 years without seeing the truth of one life is really meaningless as compared to one who see even live only one day. So long before the Prince Siddhartha of the Sakka was born, the meditation was really widely practiced through a process of what's called self-modification, or as asceticisms. Among the Brahmins and the followers, believed that as the way to the Nibbana, and the prince tried to practice long enough and found that concentration meditation is not leading to the Nibbana. Upon his extremely investigation, he found the truth through the mental process called vipassana, and he has announced as the way to end the suffering of all human beings. The vipassana is a high level of the meditation, which is called insight meditation. In Pali, the vi in Pali means special, or the Dhamma, or the truth, and pasana means seeing. Therefore, the vipassana altogether is referred to the process of the Buddhist highest process to practice to see the truth, and this truth is the ultimate truth. Nothing deeper than this truth. Upon clearly seeing the truth, let's experience into the Nibbana, a supreme state of the mind. The truth transforms into a Buddha, which means one who sees the truth. He said, seeing the truth in each single present moment could turn the mind into the right view, and it could orient the mind to all right things. He also emphasized the vipassana is the way out from the two extreme, that is a self-pressure and a self-modification. So-called the middle way means not in one of those sides, but it's right there in the middle. And in Bali, it's called what we know as Machima Patipata. The truth has two layers. The outer layer is called ordinary layer or conventional truth, and the inner layer is called the noble layer or the ultimate truth, which is discovered by the Buddha. However, in Vipassana, when we speak, the word body is referred to the material in deeper layer as well. In Pali, we call arupa. Therefore, when we look inwards to ourselves or our physical body, we refer to the internal body. And when we look outwards, any material, we refer to the external body. And the mind is called the Dhamma. So let me simplify a bit about these two truths before we starting over the the progressive stage of the Vipassana. As far as we're living in this world without naming seem to be really confused. Therefore, a title and identity plays roles at a greater degrees. Certainly, it eventually becomes a conventional truth which tremendously blinds us from the truth. The true truth. Underneath the conventional truth, they are all just simply body, the rupa, and the mind called the nama. And this is called the ultimate truth. Has unchangeable characteristic. In Pali, we call it paramattha. For example, the body consists of the four basic elements: earth, water, fire, and wind. The role of the earth is to solidifying, the water is liquefying, fire is for temperaturing, and the wind is more for mobilizing. So these are elements relatively the characteristic, the temporally physical structure of all animal and all characteristic of the body does not perceive or know anything. This is ultimate truth of the body, and this truth remain unchanged regardless where or when, which unlike the mind, it can recognize, perceive, knowing, and grasp any object or the world at large degree. However, this ultimate truth is regulated by a law of nature called three characteristics of all existence. As we know, in Pali we call it Atrailakkana, which namely impermanence nature, a suffering nature, and a non-self nature. The aims of the Vipassana is to see the mentioned ultimate truth, or we call it inner layer. And from time to time, in the deeper stage of the practice, one's mind will change the will and thought, or we call it intention, and turn one into new personality. When we practice, and when you see the truth in the deeper and deeper layer, your mind they're showing mentality change, which leading to the personality change. So vipassana is also recognized as the educational system of the Buddhism, actually, which taught by the greatest teacher, Buddha, called a threefold training. In Pali, we call it Trisikha. Sikha means education, including a training of the moral body, the moral conduct, the threefold. The first four is a moral conduct, and the second is mind and the wisdom. So this means one who practice progressive stage will gaining better and better conduct, mind and wisdom. And that's how it's called the path walker. And these all new qualities of the mind bent or mental defilements of the practitioners. In the Buddhism, all serious practitioner, the truth is the path as a track to peace, or what we call nibbana. So the nibbana is nowhere, become no dimension. There is nothing to be measured, and it's so it has been a place where no chaos, means no conditioning. So let's take a look to the little deeper detail of the vipassana. The principle of the vipassana, as the life consists of two main compartments, body and mind. We call it rupa and nama, as I mentioned earlier. Or if we break down into five, we call it five aggregates. That is the body itself and the mind as the feeling, perception, mental fabrication, and the consciousness. Problem or suffering is nowhere but within this body and mind. Therefore are the object of the insight meditation. And during the progressive stage of the meditation, these objects are classified as a six vipassana bhumi, or ในภาษาไทยเรารู้จักกันในชื่อของวิปัสสนาภูมินั่นเอง ภูมิ means the object, which are the five aggregates, the sensory basis, the formative element, the phenomenal faculties of Four Noble Truth, and the dependent origination, which has 12 links. All these will reduce and fit into just body and mind. During the deepest progressive stage of the vipassana, the practitioners mentally lift the body and the mind, fasten the nibbana as the final object. And because of the great amount of the wisdom, it exists within. As long as the craving disappear during the process of the progressive state of vipassana, as all knowing craving is the root cause of all suffering. But underneath this craving is the mental defilements, we call it kilesa, which is embodied within the mind through different layers. The outermost is conduct. The outermost conduct through action and the speech. The middle exercise in the mind as the mental activities, and the innermost precipitate in the mind. The Buddha, upon his enlightenment, he discovered the way how to be free or uprooting the defilement to the process of the vipassana or a 3-4 training. Within this process, the moral conduct abandons the outermost layer of the kilesa. The concentration remove or deactivates the middle layers, that is, for example, the lopa, tosa, especially the dosa, the anchors has been removed or as being deactivated. And then finally stage of the progressive stage of the vipassana is uprooting, and that is performed by the wisdom of the practitioner who are practicing the deeper layer of the vipassana. And that gain. So what the practitioners, the meditation practitioners gain is actually the wisdom from seeing the truth during a concentration state of the mind in the progressive stage. So all the defilement that has been contaminated in the mind from the beginning of your life up until the end of the progressive stage of the meditation is uprooting the innermost layer defilement. That's how the moment or the stage of the enlightened occur and made the person become accordingly Sodaban, Sakinakami, Anakami, or even the final is reach out the Arahanta. So one who partially uproot the mental defilement is called stream enter. That's what we call it Sodaban. And one who completely uprooting is called Arahanta. And these 4 classes of the people are so-called the noble person. He has gained the nobility of the life, the highest quality of life that once the human being was born can reach out by an approach of the vipassana meditation or insight meditation to just the simple process of the breathing meditation that the Buddha discovered when he was young, when he was a prince. Vipassana is also being recognized as the core of the Buddhist practice. And itself is the middle way. When you start practicing the insight meditation, the process of the meditation, the process of the insight meditation itself has become a Majjhima Patipata, has become a Trisikha, the completion of the Trisikha training or a 3-4 training. And you know what? Under investigation, the 64,000 elaborate items of the Buddhist scripture, they're all compromises in three baskets of a Tripitaka. That compromise and that construct what is known as apariyata, patibata, and pativeta. So what I mean to say, when you start practicing, when you are practicing the insight meditation, you are really entering completely the Majjhima Patipata. You walk on the path. You become a path walker by yourself. And it seems that you are schooling your mind through the process of the breathing meditation. And this I refer to the Pali Canon, which is called the Tripitaka. So the knowledge from the Buddhist scripture, or we call it Tripitaka, has compiled completely in the process of the insight meditation through the breathing meditation. So now it's time to say that the Vipassana may be also recognized as the middle path as well as the threefold training. And it's not wrong to consider as a noble practice in the Buddhism. And this kind of practice, this kind of activity is not appear in any other religions. There should be a really noble asset or the properties of the Buddhism. Okay, now let's find out what is the Vipassana object or Vipassana Bhumi เอาที่เรารู้จักกันในวิปัสสนาภูมิในภาษาไทย Vipassana object is the object of the insight meditation refer to deep layer of the object, for example, truth or a Dhamma. For example, if one choose the physical body through the breath, when you breathe in and breathe out as an object, then one has to observe and realize the present feeling of tightness, looseness, the temperature of the body temperature, for example, hot or cold, or the strength of the muscle, for example, is soft or hard at the physical body. And if one now chooses the mind as an object, one has to observe the present feeling of the wanting, for example, wanting anger or doubt in the mind. Is there any cloud? Is there any even doubt or cloud that is a defilement in the mind? So such an object is called Vipassana Bhumi. One thing that before we start or begin the insight meditation, we must bear in mind that an effort and mindfulness are the key. So the effort or an energy, or we call in ภาษาไทยความเพียรและสติเป็นกุญแจสำคัญ or as the keys for the vipassana. So it's not wrong to say that the vipassana is the Dhamma of presence. Because of these two factors that supporting the process of the meditation has blended the vipassana become a Dhamma of the presence. So when you are practicing, when you are performing the vipassana, that means you allow yourself, including the mind and body, living in the present moment of life. So just how wonderful that if you want to understand the truth of your life, you have to facilitate yourself being in the present moment, and that's how you see what your life is and what is the component of your life and how your life is going along and how your life should be end up, whether happiness or sadness. It allows you to understand more and more about yourself because of your mind is in the present moment with the support of the effort and the mindfulness or ด้วยความเพียรและสติจะทำให้เราเข้าใจมีสมาธิที่จะเข้าใจภายใต้ความสงบนิ่ง tranquility จะทำให้เราเข้าใจว่าความจริงของชีวิตเราเนี่ยมันเป็นไปอย่างไร So what I mean to say is the vipassana inside meditation disclose the truth, open up the truth. And when you see the truth that is referred to the noble truth, the four noble truth คนในภาษาไทยเรารู้จักกันในชื่อของอริยสัจสี่ The knowledge of the noble truth that construct your mind become what is called a makha or panya or wisdom. That means the process of the meditation, especially inside meditation or the vipassana, has become a way that allow you to walk with tools that can solve difficulties or problems of your life or remove the suffering, removing the root cause of the suffering of your life. Today I have decided to talk about the 16th stage of the progressive vipassana that I have been teaching for many years, along with the investigation in each state. And that is called the Sola Sayana, or เราออกเสียงกันในภาษาไทยว่าโสรถยาน It's a progressive stage of the insight meditation and has been classify into a different stage of 16. So it's comprised of the 16 stages, and we call it ayana, the insight. So let's begin with the first stage. It's called the Nama Rupa Parichetayana, the first insight or the first jhana. We might not be able to complete or finish the 16th stage by one session, but we can continue in the next session, in the next video, if we are not able to finish all 16 today, this morning. The Nama Rupa Parichetayana, the first insight. It's in this first stage, the practitioners must investigate and find out separately the inner layer of the body and the mind. For example, when looking at the breath, during breath out and in, or in and out, as the body, we see the breath does not know anything. It just moves naturally and disappear. When you breathe in, that is the beginning. And when you breathe out, that was the end actually. When you starting breathing out, it was the end of the breath in. And that's how you see a rising and passing away, or rising and falling of the body. Then you find out the mind by observing that there is one thing that, moving in your mind, in your head, and that is a sense of knowing what you are doing. Along with when you're breathing, you know that there is the breath, the currents of the breath is hitting your nose, hitting your nostril, or giving a strong impact to your chest, or even moving downwards to your belly or diaphragms. That knowing is the mind. And without the mind, you will not be able to know where is the breath goes. Where is the breath begin? Where is the breath end up? And because of knowing and the function that performing a sense of knowing, that is the mind. So this knowing is the process, the mental process of the mind, and it has always rising and falling. The continuation of knowing because occur because of you want to know. There is a little sense of the craving that initiate the continuation of a knowing, and that particular continuation is called santati in Pali. However, one may look at a deeper layer of the truth, the feeling of the tightness of a belly when breathing in, and the looseness of the belly when you're breathing out. This is the deeper layer of the body, the ultimate truth, and that one is called knowing. One of that tightness and looseness is the mind. So the sense of the knowing that you are breathing out, hitting your body, hitting the chest, hitting a belly, or even touching your nostril. You recognize that because of a consciousness. So now you are able to differentiate between what is the body and what is the mind by observing your breath. So this is what actually become a really wonderful benefit of a breathing meditation that allow you to learn how the body like and how the mind like. What is the body actually and what is the mind? Through the process of just breathing in and breathing out, or what we call anapanasati. When you place your sati, your mindfulness, on particular object, underlies one particular object, that is the breath, the current of breath in and breath out. When you focus, when you spotting, you might become learning about what the body, what is the mind. So this is really, the smartness of the Buddha, the smartness of the Prince Siddhartha when he was observing the breathing meditation, the activity that he performed, and eventually he called it anapanasati. So when you understand, when you understand, when you comprehensively understand what is the body, what is the mind, and that's the Buddha said that moment you see. So the word seeing is for understanding. So so when you understanding, we call it insight, and this is the first insight or the first jhana, which disclose the truth of your life that consists of two components, body and mind. The benefit or the advantage of seeing clearly, it removes the doubt from your life. Now you come to realize that actually your life consists of body and mind. Through the process during the present moment, you will have a different feeling from when you see your body as this is the hand, this is the left hand, this is the right hand. or this is the car, this is the house. Those material body is all conventional. It's all formative body. But during the process of the first insight, you understand that all the body is actually nothing, but it's just all the material that we are consuming, including our body, the muscle, leg, eyes, head, lung, the stomach, is actually nothing but is the rupa, the truth. It comprises of the four elements, nothing different between my body and your body or anybody's bodies. They are all same rupa and same nama. The only difference is the qualities. You are allowed to have a better quality of nama and rupa through the process of the breathing meditation. And you understand deeper about the stage of how your rupa and nama goes along with your life through the process of the solo jhana, a 16th stage of the meditation, the progressive stage. You will see clearly that these two components are, body and mind are actually separable. What is the benefit of the separation? Seeing the separation of body and mind. When you are sick, when your body sick, actually your mind not necessary to be sick along. If you understand what is the suffering is, what is the sickness is, because the different stage, the progressive stage of the vipassana, or we call it solo jhana, allow you to see the separation, that actually they are not together. We used to understand that the body and mind are one, but actually not. But before we practice to not suffer while your body is suffering, we have to practice through the process. We have to understand what is the truth. And that's how you be able to remove or release your mind from the physical attachment or the body attachment. For just the first stage of the progressive meditation, a solo jhana. The second stage of the solo jhana is called pancha palikaha jhana, the second insight. During this stage, the practitioner try to investigate how the body and mind arise and observes how they are related. For example, the breath, the body, arise naturally, then the mind knowing that this body is breathing, which means the body is a cause and the mind is an effect. Or in another case, when the meditators want the breath longer, and he did. In this case, the wanting of the mind arises first as a cause for longer breath to arise secondly. Now the practitioner understands clearly how the body and mind arise and how they are related to each other. Without body and mind will not exist. And without mind, the body will not exist. So they both need contact. The Pali called phassa. When one practice more and more, he will has no doubt about birth of his body and mind. One can say the practitioner now trusts in the process of life or the Buddhism because the Buddha disclosed this truth. This insight or jhana actually lead the practitioner to understand more about the dependent origination. See, you become a person to know that how were you born, from where you has come. So when you understand the cause and the effect, is namely a law of nature. That's how the Buddhism open up the will as a science, and truly it is. This insight will actually explain how suffering arises and ends. When one investigates closely and deeper, we understand the idea of actually what is called reincarnation, the rebirth, the cycle of rebirth. And one who regularly practiced the Solothyana will understand and know how to apply the insight to the life practice. So there is a second stage or the second insight of the Solothyana, which open up from where you come. How is your life occur? Who created your life? You yourself or somebody else? The next stage is called Samanasayana, which is the third one. During this process, what happened? The practitioner consider yourself, the body and mind, under the characteristic of the impermanent, the unsustainable natures, the suffering, the unstable natures, and the non-self nature, which is uncontrollable nature of body and mind. This stage is open up the will to the practitioner that is actually not pure because he still considered on the basis of the book knowledge, or we call it pariyata, the text or listening to his old teacher or understanding literally about from his old thought. Any source, the practitioner must go on considering in the four dimension. The first dimension that he should go when he want to contemplate the Trilakkana, the Anicca Dukkha Anatta on the meditation object, namely Rupa and Nama. First, he considered the body and mind of the past, future, and present, the external, the internal, close, far, or cause, that are under the impermanent, suffering, non-self nature. Nothing lasts long and rise to fall always, all the time. So this is the first dimension that we have to consider or look at. The second dimension, consider the body and the mind of the past will not be the same of the present. It always keeps changing. Excuse me. You today is different from you yesterday. And you tomorrow will not be the same as you today. That means along with the time goes on, you are become a difference from the past and future. We are not the same person because each single moment of time we keep changing. So this is the second dimension that we have to contemplate or investigate, that we are all the time changing. And actually we are dying. The last dimension that I want to mention today before we wrap up this program for today is consider the continuation of the body and mind. For example, hot body is end, then the cold body arise. Hot body end, then when the cold body end, the hot body arise all the time, and so on. Therefore, the body and mind are impermanent, suffering, and non-self, and they are really are. It happened along the way, same fashion. The last dimension that we must consider or contemplate is the body and mind are really exist just quick, a single moment, and fall away. For example, we are sitting, the body end. When we're standing, you see, when you're sitting, and when you begin to stand up, the sitting body is already end. That means wherever you go, when after you left, the body of the place that you stood is already died. And that is about action. That is about karma that we can talk in detail in the next Saturday morning. I think now is time's up, and I would like to end this morning show with the blessing from the Buddha, that ones who are seeing the truth of life, you are really a value of life, and that's how you make that the teaching of the Buddha can, or the Dhamma of the Buddha can bless everybody, can bless everyone who practice the Dhamma. And we will see you in on next Saturday early morning again. And thank you for watching this program. I would pass this back to Ajahn Tawachai to wrap up this program this morning. Goodbye and thank you.